welcome to The One Show with Matt Baker.
And with Alex Jones. Now, we are putting the miles in on tonight's show.
We will travel back to Sierra Leone with a nurse who survived Ebola.
Russell Watson will take us back to the place where the people's tenor was born.
And whilst one of our guests has been travelling the world's railways, the other has come all the way from possibly the most famous American street ever.
And to be fair, he has caused a little bit of aggro in the green room tonight.
Cookie!
Now, whilst the Cookie Monster gets cleaned up, let's welcome the furry, the friendly, just don't call him a Muppet, Chris Tarrant.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Excited, aren't they? What's the matter with them?
I love that you've colour coordinated with the Cookie Monster, as has Matt.
I didn't
Same
realise
colours.
he
Good
was
effort,
bright
boys.
blue. I didn't know he was bright blue. I couldn't remember.
Oh, no, I'd be very happy. He was over the moon when I saw him earlier on.
I think when I saw him before, we had a black and white set, so I can't remember what they were.
But to be fair, we don't know how well this is going to go tonight because you put Sooty into room 101, didn't you?
I didn't put Sooty... I tried. Firstly,
Boo, Chris Tarrant.
For years,
Yeah,
I worked with Roland Rat, and that wasn't the best fun of my life. And then, when we went to room 101, tried to get rid of Sooty, Sooty I always thought was just an oven glove. I never found it remotely entertaining. And I know, and you're doing exactly what they did.
Yes!
Chris,
And I
mean, you're not
tried to
convinced
put
it does
Sooty
either.
into 101.
You cannot
And I
put
was
Sooty-
booed.
You can't put Sooty in room 101. Yes, boo.
And I take the horrible little thing
boo.
out again. He's bright orange. He doesn't do anything. He's not even a vent. He's just a little thing.
He can do magic, Sooty.
He can't do anything.
He
Let me-
can.
I wasn't a fan. Anyway, I was rejected and vilified by the audience.
I'm sure you were.
Yes, I am here.
You don't like Sooty, but we
No.
do know that you love railways.
I do like
however.
railways.
And we'll be talking all about your new series and
yeah.
the book that accompanies it a bit later.
Now, while Chris here has been travelling some of the world's most challenging rail networks, we, on the other hand, have been turning our attention to Britain's motorways.
Smart motorways, to be precise, and The One Show has discovered a big jump in the number of speeding fines issued to drivers using them. Kevin Douala has been finding out why.
The M1 near Wakefield.
The motorway. Time to put my foot on the gas. Within limits, obviously.
But I've not been on long before there's an accident. And as there's no hard shoulder, I have to change lanes because this is a smart motorway.
Motorways, they've changed, haven't they? Whatever happened to freedom of the road?
Smart motorways now make up 236 miles of UK roads. Designed to ease traffic flow, they can reduce speed limits and make the hard shoulder an extra lane.
And making sure I stick to it. And the cameras up there in the gantry. Go too fast, and the fine's in the post.
And that's proving controversial. We asked the police how many fines they'd issued on stretches of motorway recently upgraded to smart motorways. Most answered, and the figures for last year show that around 52,000 speeding tickets were issued on smart motorway sections. Compare that to 2010, when the figure was just 2,000 on the same stretches. So do we understand smart motorways, or are they just too smart for the average motorist?
Well, I fancy a coffee, and I think I'm going to be a little bit nosy and ask them. What do you think of smart motorways?
What are smart motorways?
Define a smart motorway.
Smart motorway, is that paying tolls?
If you saw a red cross when you're driving along a smart motorway, what does it mean?
I have no idea.
So it seems many of us still don't get them. But one organisation that does is Highways England. They're convinced they're a good thing, and they're taking me to their Wakefield control centre to show me why. From here, Dave Skupski helps control every smart motorway in Yorkshire and the North East.
It's incredibly effective at relieving the congestion out on the motorway network. So there are traffic sensors throughout the smart motorway sections. They're constantly monitoring the flow of the traffic. And if it detects that the traffic speed is reduced, the signs will come on automatically. I can give you a bit of a demonstration of that on the system. So if we look at this section of road, which is junctions 39 to 40 on the M1, if we had a report that there was a collision, we can use our CCTV system to look at that section of road and see whereabouts the incident has occurred. I can just a couple of clicks on the system, select which lane, so the outside lane, lane 4, select that it's closed, and the system does the rest for me. And you sort of get countdown speeds in approach to that. So if that was occurring now, I could just press the implement button and all the signs would come on the motorway network.
Well, the technology's definitely smart, but the variable speed limits and disappearing hard shoulders aren't universally popular.
The speed limits sort of change rather quickly, going up and down, so actually I think it's caused quite a lot of chaos.
And how do you think you'd feel if you couldn't get onto the hard shoulder?
Vulnerable.
You'd be a bit worried, really, wouldn't you? Be a bit dangerous.
Drivers who need to stop when there's no hard shoulder are expected to use lay-bys called emergency refuge areas. But for Edmund King, president of the AA, there aren't enough of them.
8 out of 10 drivers are telling us that the motorways are less safe today than 4 years ago because the hard shoulder's been removed. Only a couple of weeks ago, one of our members broke down on a smart motorway. There was a red X up, but still got hit from behind. It really is that frightening.
What do you want to happen?
We need twice as many lay-bys, and they need to be twice as long.
Lawyer Paul Wright represents people challenging fines and says the huge acceleration in speeding ticket numbers is no surprise.
A cynic might say that it's another way of getting more and more money out of the motorist, over and above what we're paying already, and it's an easy way to extract fines from people, because once you're clocked over the limit by the camera, very difficult to fight against that.
With the money from all those fines going straight to the government, are they taking advantage of our confusion over smart motorways? Head of Highways England's Smart Motorway Network, Sean Pidcock, says that's not the point.
People really shouldn't be afraid of using smart motorways. They're the safest motorways on the network. We have 100% CCTV coverage. We have people watching over them, making sure they're safe, and we can get people in the traffic office to them far safer and quicker than we can do on normal motorways.
200 more miles of smart motorway are planned or under construction, costing £6 billion.
A safer way to drive with fewer hold-ups or highway robbery. Whatever you think of them, smart motorways are here to stay.
Sorry, excuse me.
This is nice, isn't it?
There we are.
Can I have one over here, please? Thank you.
There we are.
Where's the shortbread, Matt?
Really bum.
Oh, they didn't have any.
job.
No,
I'm
they
the
didn't
only
have
one
any.
who's bouncing. You two are sitting
But
still.
them
I'm the
smart
only one.
motorways. Smart motorways. I mean, the bloke up the buffet car got done last week. Couldn't believe it.
I never heard the term smart motorways until
I think
today.
they find so many people on them. This is rather nice, isn't it?
Well, listen,
Are we in
we've gone
first class?
Well, listen,
Well, I hope
no,
we are.
we're not. Of course we're not. We're in economy. Can't you tell? No, but the reason we've created all this, because you have a proper passion and proper love. Oh, it went dark. For
We're through a
trains.
tunnel, that's why.
I know. Yes, so you have a proper passion.
When I was a
for
little boy,
trains, Kristen.
yeah, not trains so much, railways.
But railways,
I just love
yeah.
railways. I love the way they were built in impossible terrain all over the world and all that stuff.
And
I love
started
all that.
with a book from your grandfather.
I had a book from Grandad called something like The Boy's Big Book of Rails or something. So I've loved them. And some of them you think, how on earth do they build it up this mountain or in this desert? I mean, I've loved all that. A lot of the railways we covered in the most remote parts of the world. Without that railway, there'd be no roads, there's no nothing. They would just live and die in the same little village. So it's made a huge difference to the world. I enjoy that. I don't get the sort of nice, smooth ones like Portillo gets or, Joe Lumley. I get the really rough
do you know,
ones.
we were going to talk about that because if you did have this huge passion, you must have been very frustrated when this lot here turned up and started doing all their series.
I mean, but look at them, Look at the state of them. No, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. I mean, the very first one, I think we talked about this before, was the Congo, which, was quite extreme because it's called Extreme Railways. It was 6 days late. That was the first train, and we thought, oh, God. And it's been like that ever since. I've just come back from Zimbabwe. The trains, well, most of them don't work. So you drive a lot. And the big problem in Zimbabwe is roadblocks. And they're really scary. These huge policemen come out of nowhere with proper guns, AK-47s and stuff, and all they want is money. They just have a big table in the middle of the road, dollars and all this. So you have to pay because you don't muck about. And what we found is the few trains that did work, we were travelling through the night on one. There was a lot of very large gentlemen drinking this strange African hooch, wandering up and down. And the doors on the train, I mean, like this now going along, the doors on the train, I've never seen this anywhere in the world, just kept flying open. So I'm sure that when we got to Victoria Falls, there were nothing like as many people got off as got on. Seriously. It's just bizarre. It's terrifying.
But this is now like the 3rd series, isn't it?
Yeah.
So after the first series, did you not think, oh, hang on a minute,
Yes.
this is all a bit much?
I know,
and then the
but
second one comes out. Now you're doing the 3rd, so it's no mistake
You
now.
said that about the one show 3 years ago, and you're still here. Look at you now.
But that's the thing, you imagine, a series about railways and you think of beautiful places,
Yeah.
and all you've done is go to these places that have been terrifying, apart from Canada, which we were
Canada
quite
was
looking
beautiful,
forward to.
except that Canada was the most terrifying of them all, when we went up in the helicopter. Well, have you ever held a stick of dynamite?
I have.
I can't say I have.
They're like a great big candle with a detonator, aren't they?
Yeah.
So because...
Hang on, you had one in the helicopter?
Yeah, we had a whole load of dynamite in a helicopter. Because they have so many problems over there with avalanches, what they do, basically, they... Good grief, I'm just looking at this. They go up, and you, with dynamite, you bomb where the snow's impacting, like to cause an avalanche. So we're up in this plane, and suddenly the whole thing goes completely... I'm not great in helicopters anyway. The windscreen is completely whited out an avalanche. Yeah. And we were terrified. I mean, we were way above these really jagged rocks. And at one point, the helicopter starts going, woo, 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 woo. And I'm going... I mean, Mike, the cameraman beside me, is white. And I'm looking across at this guy, sort of very tight-lipped pilot by then, and I'm saying, is everything all right? What's that noise? And he said, that means we're going down too fast. I mean, isn't that like crashing, Dave? But I mean, the whole thing took probably less than a minute, but it was a scary minute. Yeah. You wouldn't get Michael Putilla doing that.
No, you wouldn't. But tonight is a bit more sedate because you're off to, well, not this, but on the show tonight, you're off to Argentina and you meet this station master with a difference. Let's just have a look at a clip.
Now, I've been up since 5:30. I've been on a really dirty, graffiti-covered train. The one thing in the world I don't want to do is look at a model railway, but it's all part of our goodwill trip to Argentina. Marcelo, Chris, hello, do you have a model railway? Yeah. I can't wait, let's see it. So, let's have a look. Oh my, mon Dieu! It is fantastic. It's enormous.
Yeah.
They are normally, they are the dullest. When somebody says, would you like to see my model railway? You think, oh. But actually, that was amazing.
People are going to be saying that to you a lot.
But also in Argentina tonight, on one of the trains, I said to this guy, have you ever had any famous people on here? He said, yeah, some US statesmen and one or two South American footballers, and Adolf Hitler.
Really?
What? How?
Exactly, well, that's what I said. And he said he came here, and he's quite adamant, this guy. He said he came here in 1945. When you think that sort of Martin Bormann, Joseph Mengele, Klaus Barbie, Eichmann was brought back, a lot of them got to South America. Why wouldn't the most famous, richest, most powerful of them all get there? They said he arrived by submarine. He was picked up from this station where we were doing the filming. He'd shaved off the moustache, shaved his hair. It's very unconcerting with the train going by. And he was there for several years, and then he eventually died in Paraguay when he was about 70-odd. And this guy was so convincing. And I actually talked to a serious professor of history the next day, and he told me the same stuff. And he said he'd interviewed a guy who used to drive him round, who's now 92 or something. And you think, it is certainly possible. So I've learned loads of stuff.
You have?
You know, I've enjoyed it.
And we can see your extreme railway journeys tonight, 9 o'clock, Channel 5.
9 o'clock. I've done 168,212 miles.
That was a stat.
We're going to use that later on in the programme.
Use it again.
Oh, Chris. Anyway, the train's coming into the station.
Yes,
we're going to have to stop now.
We're not slowing.
No.
Are there any bumpers?
From Chris's railway adventures to a country that has been out of bounds to travellers up until recently. We're talking Sierra Leone.
In 2014, it was badly affected by an outbreak of Ebola that killed more than 11,000 people right across Africa and almost took the life of a British nurse.
I can still remember that real fear, thinking about how this would all end. I really did think I might die here.
Corporal Anna Cross is a reservist for the British Army. In February 2015, whilst working as an intensive care nurse, she volunteered to go to Sierra Leone. It was the height of the worst Ebola outbreak the world has ever seen.
This here is the area where the healthcare workers would go in, and first of all you would put on your personal protective equipment. We called them boil-in-a-bag suits because at the time we were here it was incredibly hot. There would have been a big tent here and a lot of personnel working.
After 2 weeks of long hours in stifling conditions, Anna started to feel unwell.
I put this down to the stresses from the environment, but I started to realise that it wasn't normal. It's just how exhausted I felt and how tired and achy my limbs were.
Anna's colleague, Dr. Dan Burns, treated her.
On the second day, her fevers continued, and they weren't settling with simple things like paracetamol. And the tests for common causes of fever like malaria or flu were all negative.
Suspecting something more severe, Dan sent Anna back to the treatment facility, this time as a patient.
All of a sudden, people turned up in my room and they were wearing hazmat suits, and I was put into the back of an ambulance on my own.
Within hours, Dan received the blood results and Anna's worst fears were realised.
He just said, I'm really sorry, it's not good news, and I'm afraid you have Ebola. I just remember thinking, how annoying. I'm not going to be able to finish my tour, I'm not going to be able to do the job I was doing, but also I'm going to be in probably tremendous pain and in a quite undignified state and possibly even die, but I'm just not ready. I just don't want this to happen.
24 hours after being diagnosed, Anna was flown back to the UK in an RAF transport plane. Now critically ill, Anna was admitted to the High Dependency Isolation Unit at the Royal Free Hospital in London.
I remember quite a few of the treatments being very painful, and I lost a huge amount of weight.
With her life hanging in the balance, Anna agreed to take a new experimental drug, MIL-77. She was the first person in the world to receive this treatment. Anna's condition began to improve.
I first realised I would probably survive when I could eat ice cream. It was a real turning point. It meant really that I wanted to start actively being involved in getting myself better.
It would be another 15 days before Anna was declared Ebola-free and discharged from hospital. But in Sierra Leone, the battle against Ebola would last another 10 months and claim 4,000 lives. In November 2015, the World Health Organization announced that Sierra Leone was finally free from Ebola. 20 months after her first visit, Anna has returned to Sierra Leone to see how things have improved. Before the Ebola outbreak, there were no emergency response systems. Now, a rapid deployment unit can be up and running within 24 hours. And the hospital now screens patients before they're admitted.
We'll ask them whether there's been a fever, whether there are any signs of bleeding, vomiting, diarrhea, hiccuping. So if you meet 3 or 4 or more, then you are a suspected case.
In the village, close to the treatment centre, they're keen to say thank you to Anna and to celebrate her visit with an impromptu ceremony, despite the rain.
So our special guest, Anna, you were prepared to give your life for our own sustainability. Thank you so much, Anna.
With better resources in place for healthcare workers across the region, it's reassuring to Anna that if this deadly disease returns to Sierra Leone, there's a chance it can be stopped before it gets out of control.
Oh, it's good to hear that Anna is now fully recovered and she's off on her travels again. She's currently teaching English in Lebanon.
And you can see more stories like Anna's every weekday morning this week at 9:15 on BBC One. Great series. It's called The People Remember.
Now, before things get messy with our next guest...
Oh, yes.
Uh-oh, he's on his way up. Just for Chris, let's have a moment of peace and tranquility with a Yorkshire station master.
This is lovely.
Yes.
My name is Aaron and this is my view. We are in Oakworth Station's booking office. It's in the middle of the Keighley and Worth Valley Railway's 5-mile branch line. I'm 19 years old and I'm the station master of Haworth Station just down the line, but I also work at all of the stations on the railway. I think how content I am and happy to be able to see this view from my place of work. When I see the train pulling into the station, I really appreciate all the engineering work that the Victorians put in place and built to last. Back then, recycling was the norm, whereas now, because things are so cheap and less valuable, we tend to chuck them. When it's sunny, it's bright and it's dry, it makes me want to smile. Even on a rainy day, it still brings me joy because I think you've got to have the good with the bad. I do like the charms of Oakworth. This was where they filmed The Railway Children. So of course there's Mr. Perks who comes, shouts Oakworth. That's always great fun to do for the passengers. In the modern world, we've lost that human touch and that human connection with each other. So when I'm here on the station, I get to interact and talk to passengers. When I hear foreign accents, I'll always make the effort and say, oh, where are you from? If they say Poland, I'll say, oh, dzień dobry, jak się masz? I do this because I have a great interest in heritage, but I don't want to live in the past. I still have a smartphone, I still use social media, but our world that we work in, with the steam trains, the wonderful view, has made a huge difference in my life. I now see life as a very enjoyable experience and something which you've got to look up from a phone screen and take in.
Oh, it's a lovely film with Aaron there. So the Cookie Monster is with us. Welcome to the one.
Hi! Thank you! Thank you! Hi, everybody!
This is honestly
what's
it's a
terrific.
dream come true, this is.
Oh, thank you!
Hey, we hear you've been
Lovely.
doing some sightseeing.
Oh, look, a cookie!
There you go,
what?
there you go.
You want me to eat the cookie now?
Well,
Maybe
Cookie
save it
Monster.
for a little bit, because we got to do some talking first, sir.
Okay.
And it's mouthful.
Thank you, Chris. Me appreciate it.
You keep him right, there you go.
Throw the cookie away?
I'm
Wait a
sorry.
minute! Me don't tell you to throw it away! Me just
It's
said
a clean
hold on
studio.
to
I
it
can go
for a
get it back.
second.
We're going to go straight in with some
Chris.
distraction
Coming
techniques.
for a telling
You
off.
throwing me cookie away like
I
you
didn't
threw
throw it away, I
cookie
just
away.
put it over there. Yeah.
Me cookie.
Yeah.
Me no gonna be able to focus without me cookie.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll go and get it.
Me cookie.
look.
Okay, me.
Look, we've got another
one, don't
spare
worry.
one.
Okay, terrific.
Don't worry.
Me back. Me back.
Well,
me back
listen,
and be
are you,
focused.
Cookie Monster, are you
Be
there? Are
ready.
you focused? Are you ready?
Be
You got
focused.
me?
Be ready.
Okay.
Yeah, what's your question? Sorry.
Well, I would like
Chris.
to talk to you about a bit of sightseeing that you've
Oh,
been doing
we
here.
did.
You've had some sunny days
Oh, look,
around
that's
London
me in
here.
front of Big Ben.
There you go.
That's
Lovely.
me actually there. And look, that googly eyes in front of the London eye. Good. And look, it's round
And then he
like
went
me
for a
cookie.
pint.
And there we went for a pint.
Is that a pint of milk?
And you can see a pint of milk and cookies.
So how do our British biscuits compare to your cookies then, Cookie?
Mwah. You know what? Me never want to leave. Me tried the Jammy Dodgers.
Yeah,
The
good.
hobnobs. Have you ever had a hobnob? Digestives. Me did the whole rich tea experience with the dunking into the tea.
You are a dunker. Are you a dunker?
Me a dunker.
Yeah.
Me beyond a dunker. This is a whole new world for me.
Well, I'll tell you what, well, speaking of a whole new world, we haven't actually seen you for 15 years or so. We've got a lovely picture of you and all your friends here. So we've got Elmo, you can see, and
me,
Big
yeah,
Bird,
Elmo,
and Bert and
Bert,
Ernie, and the Count and what have you. So what have you been up to? Are you part of a crime fighting duo?
Oh,
now?
yes, that's true, yeah. Well, you know, there's somebody lurking around Sesame Street who's throwing cookies away, not Chris.
Just one.
No, but he taking the cookies. And his name is the Crumb.
Oh, my word.
He a bad baker.
Keep that
You don't want to mess with the Crumb.
Yeah, should we have a look at you in action? You can have
sure,
a bite
yeah,
of
you got
cookie.
clip?
All right, yeah,
Let's
here
roll
we
the
go.
clip.
Smart Cookies, a tough batch of home-baked heroes. There's the tech genius, Big B, Miss Fortune, Chipowski, and the rookie, Cookie Monster.
Hello.
Together, they have one mission, to stop the crumb.
Today, I'm going to mess up some dress-up.
Keep safe, my man, keep safe. Cookie time, you can have a cookie. You can have a cookie. There you go.
Cookie!
Well, Sesame Street
appalling
is on
table manners.
every day, 4 o'clock on Cartoonito. Oh,
Oh, lovely. Now
we
it's
love you,
time-
Cookie.
It's time now to head back to the railway. It's a place where the subject of our next film started his career.
Yes, all will be revealed as Britain's best-selling classical crossover artist takes a stroll down memory lane.
My name is Russell Watson. In my time, I've sung for the great and the good, and in front of some very special crowds. But my background is far from grand, and maybe that's why they call me the people's tenor. Today I'm coming back to the streets where it all started for me, here in sunny Salford. Some of my earliest musical memories were right here at my granddad's old house. This is the room where my granddad had his Steinway. I would crawl underneath the bottom of the piano and I'd lean against the back leg. So as he was playing Chopin or something like that, I'd feel the vibrations of the piano through my back. I never got bored of listening to him play. So here we are on Sunningdale Drive, and that there is where my mother, my father, and my sister and I lived. My dad worked 7 days a week. He was a steel worker. This was a big steel working area. He used to do 12-hour shifts, so we hardly ever saw him, which meant me and our kid could get away with all kinds of different stuff because my mum was a bit softer than my dad. What are you doing?
All right.
So you see that line right down at the bottom of the road there? I wasn't allowed past that line up until I was about 14 years old. And I had a push bike, and the limit of where I could ride the bike was basically in a circle around here. That was it. So I was never.
Keep him safe.
So, did my sister Hayley spot any early signs that music was to be my life?
Remember when Mum sent you for piano lessons when you were about 7?
I do, yeah. But playing the piano wasn't as cool as playing the guitar, so I packed it in after about 5 or 6 years, I think. Back in those days when you used to hear me singing, did you ever think I'd end up doing what I'm doing today?
No, I didn't at all. And I used to turn my music up so I couldn't hear you.
You still do?
I know.
Miserable cow. So at the age of 16, along with a group of mates, I formed a band. And we called ourselves The Crowd. And we were awful. I soon came to realise that singing wasn't going to pay the bills, and I ended up working as a bolt cutter. I used to trudge up and down this road in my overalls and steel toe-cap boots every day. Then I decided that for a laugh, I'd enter the heats of a local radio station's Search for a Star competition in a local pub called The Railway. Once I got the microphone in my hand and I stood up and started singing, I knew that that was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And so for the next 9 years, clubs like this would reverberate to the sounds of me singing everything from Elton to Elvis. There's this fateful evening. The concert secretary was called Sid. He looked me in the eye and he said, "Have you ever tried any of that, what's it called, operatic stuff?" He says, "That nest and doormat would suit your voice right down to the ground." First time that I sang Nessun Dorma live in front of an audience was the first time that I ever received a standing ovation. That was where it all began. And just 5 years later, I fulfilled a boyhood dream when I walked onto the pitch at Old Trafford, the Theatre of Dreams. Only it wasn't to play for United, but to perform Nessun Dorma in front of over 60,000 people. And finally, the boy who sat under his granddad's grand piano all those years before had achieved his impossible dream.
And good news for fans.
Nice story.
Russell's new album, Two Stories, is released on Friday.
What a note to finish on. Chris, thanks for your company. Cookie Monster, great to see you.
Don't
Tomorrow
make me
we'll
beg,
be back
Chris.
with our own Cookie Monster, Greg Wallace.
Oh, it's all over the floor!
He got it. He got it. Cookie. Ah, no, 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 no.